Hey, good morning, folks. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We are North Georgia's only live online morning show. Josh, let's start right out telling people how they can contact the show. That is right there. That's our phone number and our email address and all the ways you can follow the show on social media. Make sure I got all the volume off of everything here. So, there you go. That's how you follow the show. How many of you watched night one of the miniseries of the Democrat? I mean, it's a season. You know, we watch Hulu, we watch Netflix, Amazon Prime. I mean, all of these different shows, and we get to know characters. Stay with me on this. We get to know characters. We find the characters we hate. We find the characters we like. We find the characters we cheer for. We find the ones that we know they're going to get killed off the show. Like, like in episode 4, they're going to die. They're going to get killed off. You know the ones they can't kill off the show because they make the show. I mean, if you were to kill them off early on, then the show doesn't go on. They are a major part of the show. So for those that think, I think they're going to kill this one. Why does everything have to be killed? But let's just go with that. No. They can't kill that when they have to be on the show till the end of the season. It is a sad state of affairs that our politics is just that, a TV series. It's a TV series, a daily series that people watch. There's spin-off shows. There's so many things, going on in the TV series DNC, The Next Candidate. So how many of you watched the debate last night and you're disappointed? Okay. You thought maybe they would ask a hard question. You thought maybe they would really attack each other. You thought that Chuck Todd just might ask Elizabeth Warren while you're on the whole rampage, while you're on the warpath. Will you follow that line of correcting and stamping out corruption with things like Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and China? Is that part of your end the corruption campaign? You thought for a minute they would ask that. You thought they would ask about reparations. That was very boring, number one. Number two, they named Elizabeth Warren the winner before it started. That's not a joke. Before it started, I watched a little pregame. In the pregame, let me get this up here. I had it right here. There it is. Let's go with. So yesterday, wait a minute. Today, Bernie Sanders is going down to Homestead. All right. Yesterday, number one. Here it is. The pre-made signs. That's Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. She's visiting the children yesterday. I mean, you wonder what these children think. I'm serious. These little children what do they think? Who are all these white people? Why do these people want to look at me? Why are people walking through here like they're at the zoo and I'm the animal in the cage? I'm serious. It's like It's like they visited the zoo. They must go see the conditions. So yesterday, as they were celebrating life in Homestead, and that is Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders is going today. He couldn't get tickets yesterday. They were sold out. So while they were celebrating life, children, and wanting them to have clean diapers, they all were cheering on and campaigning and supporting murdering children last night. Interesting. Saving them at this time, killing them at this time. Just saying. So that was last night, and here is the here's a little squirrely dude. This is pregame. This is 7:44 last night. Outcry. They did this all afternoon. Number 2. Forget the debate for a minute. Outcry over poor treatment of migrant children. Wonder if they're afraid or they catch on to the outcry of poor treatment of. Could you not put outcry over poor treatment of and put a blank and put 59,000 homeless in tents? I bet you the homeless people in Los Angeles County would love for Wayfair to send them a mattress, right? These crazy people have boycotted the children getting mattresses from Wayfair. They're crazy as hell, man. I'm not going to get started again today. These people are crazy as hell. But what about the outcry for our veterans? What about the outcry over poor treatment of our children in this country that are opiate addicted, heroin, the drug-infested inner cities? What about the outcry for the children that are shot in a drive-by in Chicago over the weekend? But this circus they put on yesterday, they ran down there. It was a circus, and you're wondering, what do these children think? We have taken, now listen to this. Obviously, I bet I don't have a large viewership in the homeless population. They may be a little down on their internet connection and being able to connect to Wi-Fi in their tents. But think about this. We are taking old shut down Walmart. Yes. Old shut down box stores, Sam's Clubs, you name it, all across the border. Remember the mystery closing of all those Walmarts? Walmart. There's not marts. Well, Walmarts would be plural marts. Anyhow. Remember that? Remember the mystery closing in Arizona and all those areas of Walmart? Remember the plumbers coming in and we didn't know what they were doing in there? We have taken these major big box stores, abandoned all through the south of the border, south there along the border. They have massive air conditioning systems, and we've turned them into shelters. Mayor Bill de Blasio, the bully de Blasio, do I have a picture of him? Hold on just a second. Where is Jackass de Blasio? I could have sworn I had a picture of Jackass de Blasio. Really? I don't have a Jackass de Blasio in there? Anyhow. All right, well, let's just go with this one because we can see him on the end. Number 21. All right. All right, right there on the end with his head turned, Mayor Jackass de Blasio. Why didn't he say last night, hey, I am going to take eminent domain of some major buildings in New York City and just turn them into homeless shelters. I mean, big, massive homeless shelters with people. I'm going to have thousands of cots in there. They can come in there. Forget the churches. Forget the mission. I'm going to do that. We've done that all along the southern border. And a lot of outcry saying they've been privatized and they get so much money per child that they hold in there. Whatever. So, last night, were you waiting for, let me get to it. Here are the candidates, the 10 candidates, okay? First Democrat debate moment, moments away. Did you watch the debate and see the part 2 where they had a microphone problem, an audio problem there? That really pissed off Chuck Todd. Hey, don't look at me. The Democrats were throwing around pissed off last night. They got some issues out of the way early on. So these are your first, number 12, okay? Here's Savannah Guthrie, right? Is that her? And then there's the guy from Telemundo that asked the question in the old Espanol. And there's Lester Holt. Now, Lester Holt is famous for entrapping the president and getting that video of obstruction, according to the left. 3 candidates last night. There's the 2. Here is Jackass de Blasio, number 13. He wanted to beat up Francis. Okay, Francis is sitting over there. Francis is talking about Medicare or something. And de Blasio jumps in and like, I will kick your ass. I'm the mayor of New York. Francis is like in the show. He dies early in the show. Sorry, folks. If you're watching this and you have your favorite characters. Now, I picked out 2 of my favorites last night. And let me say this. This is by no means liking a Democrat. This is not by no means agreeing with a Democrat. I watched this for what it truly is, a TV show. I watched it with open eyes, very clearly, knowing that MSNBC is the deep state media. I watched it not expecting them to break any new ground. I watched it last night knowing they were not going to get into a fight with each other. Now, the media is trying to paint that Castro got in a fight with Francis, and it got contentious at times. I watched it not expecting anything to be in a campaign commercial for Donald Trump. They try hard. They're going to try to cut up some of Elizabeth Warren's stuff to put on campaign commercials. But that was not a debate. You can't call that a debate. Instead of saying Elizabeth Warren, 71% of Americans feel the economy is doing well, why didn't Savannah Guthrie say, you know, you talk about the lower tier, and you talk about the economy doing well here, but what do you do with the statistics on African American unemployment, Latino unemployment, African male, African male unemployment? And then what about the question we were all waiting for, on this, for racial justice? What about a moderator saying, you are the Democrat Party that passed the crime bill. You are the Democrat Party that passed the crime bill. So how can you look at America now and talk about black male incarceration at record levels? How can you do that? By the way, what is the biggest threat What is the biggest threat to America this morning? Climate change. Not a nuclear weapon from North Korea. Not the fact that a Russian collusion with Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump is going to Japan to the G20, and he says he's going to talk to Vladimir Putin, and it's none of our business. Whoa, nefarious. What is he up to? Well, they have a note taker in there, Andrea Mitchell. There wasn't even a note taker in the last one. What will happen when he sits down with Putin? Maybe he might look Putin in the eye and say, look, our military buildup in Europe concerns you? Well, let me tell you what I got a problem with, and we need to correct it immediately, is that warship, okay, that military warship that you pulled in down there in Havana, Cuba. Now, Barack, he opened the door to Cuba for you to go get the cigars and to lay on the Cuban beach. That was what Barack did. Guess what? Russia parked. Hey, is there parking for this big boat here? This military. We're carrying a couple weapons. Can we get in? We just want to see a movie this afternoon. So maybe Trump might talk about, maybe that's a pretty big threat, that warship that pulled into Havana this past week. Maybe that is. But no, these liberal wackos, climate change. So there's Jackass de Blasio, and there is O'Rourke. Now, okay, so in the TV show, my favorites are, and you're gonna, I know, I told you already, okay? Zero to do with now after last night, let me go here. Okay, now Delaney, go to number, it's the best one I can see right now, okay? Go to number 23. Now this is Delaney. He is the end will, is that 32, I'm sorry. 23, 32, well, you know. All right, right there, is that Delaney, is that the guy on the end? Now he's the guy in the show, you kind of like him. You just kind of like him. He doesn't have a supporting role. He just comes in every once in a while. He is a Democrat presidential nominee prospect. He's a prospect. He wears the patch, prospect. All right, so kind of like him, but you know he's going to get killed off soon. Now, this is the jackass next to him, Inslee from Washington State. And you know you want him to, you like watching the show and you want him to die. I know, this is, you're going to like, really, this is the way? Yeah, we're watching the TV. You're like, when are they going to kill him off the show? He will stick around a couple episodes. Okay, he definitely will stick around a couple episodes. But they'll sooner or later, they will get him off the show. All right? Sooner or later. Now, this lady, 20, tops my three, might be my three favorites, okay? In fact, let's go to my three favorites. Let's go to 19, sorry. I loved Spartacus last night. We're not breaking down the debate. There was nothing there, folks. Nothing at all. Nothing. MSNBC ran cover. They did a 2-hour TV show. Okay. I like Spartacus. I like Amy Klobuchar and Gabbard from Hawaii. Those are my three on the show. Now, last night I realized, now Francis is not going to be long on this show. I think he makes it to like episode 4. Francis is going to get killed off the show. Now, Elizabeth Warren was coronated frontrunner last night in this top 10. She was put in the middle. She got the first word. She got the last word. She got the Biden treatment last night. Elizabeth Warren did. All right. Most progressive progressive on the stage, agrees with Bernie. Let's play her opening statement about the economy. So let's go with that. Here's Elizabeth Warren on the economy last night.
And we'll start this evening with Senator Elizabeth Warren. Senator, good evening to you.
Thank you.
You have many plans: free college, free childcare, government health care, cancellation of student debt, new taxes, new regulations, the breakup of major corporations. But this comes at a time when 71% of Americans say the economy is doing well, including 60% of Democrats. What do you say to those who worry this kind of significant change could be risky to the economy?
So I think of it this way. Who is this economy really working for? It's doing great for a thinner and thinner slice at the top. It's doing great for giant drug companies. It's just not doing great for people who are trying to get a prescription filled. It's doing great for people who want to invest in private prisons, just not for the African Americans and Latinx whose families are torn apart, whose lives are destroyed, and whose communities are ruined. It's doing great for giant oil companies that want to drill everywhere, just not for the rest of us who are watching climate change bear down upon us. When you've got a government, when you've got an economy that does great for those with money and isn't doing great for everyone else, that is corruption, pure and simple. We need to call it out, we need to attack it head on, and we need to make structural change in our government, in our economy, and in our country.
Senator Klobuchar.
All right, so she got the opening statement, and it's not working well for certain levels, but it's working well for some, the economy. Let's get that out of the way. Let's immediately get all of the things. Now, you sit there for 2 hours last night, and you want to know, why did not even Chuck Todd? Why didn't Rachel Maddow, with her manly look, I mean, she was wearing her suit. She had her glasses on, her hair done. I mean, she even looked over at Chuck Todd a couple times and said, "You know I'm in this damn debate, don't you, Chuck?" Chuck was running with it. She looked over like, I will kick your little ass when we're done. I'm serious. If you did not watch the debate, I mean, Rachel Maddow, this is my opinion, Rachel Maddow called her manager immediately after the debate, "Get somebody on the phone inside." Nobody makes me look like that. I got like a minute. I got 2 minutes. What the hell? I need to know what's going on here. Why did Chuck get all the airtime? Just saying, okay? So you were looking for them to ask Rachel Maddow. You know the way she dug into that Russian collusion, and every night she was putting stuff up on the screen of her show, and she was putting all the clips where a Russian got a bagel at the same shop yesterday as Don Jr., and you might think I'm silly, but Rachel Maddow was breaking it all down, charts and graphs, interviews. She had it all put together, and then it went boom. The pin went in that balloon and popped, and there was no Russian collusion, and she was exposed. But we're for sure last night that she was going to come up with a question and say, "You know what? I see where you're going with all of this. Americans may like it, but can you tell Americans how you plan to pay for it?" If you were waiting for that, it wasn't going to happen last night. Now, today to be a little different, but again, let me say this, and I'm going to say with all due respect, because Rush Limbaugh, I started listening to 30 years ago. I mean, he was in ABC New York, are we talking 1984? I don't know, man. I mean, however long it's been, I started listening to Rush. I can't say I've always 100% agreed. I'll give him a 98.9% that I agree with, but I respectfully disagree with him saying Joe Biden is finished. Now, he might, in the show, it's all it is, folks, is a show. The DNC has not changed at all, okay? They have picked their winner already. They know who it's going to be. They know who their nominee is going to be. I'm serious. They've picked this person. That's my opinion. And the other candidates are just stacking up campaign cash that they get to keep and, go on vacation. I mean, they could visit Puerto Rico and say it's a campaign trip. I mean, a legitimate trip. This is one guy I want to talk about when I get back, John Delaney, right here, number 16. I'm not for sure, folks. I'm not saying it did happen, but it's almost like they cut his mic last night. He was begging to get in. Now, I do not support this guy. He is an anti-Trump guy all the way. His question is, nobody's above the law, and, if president, he'd like to get a shot at prosecuting Trump. But that being said, this is not a quote, but this guy actually said something about the Democrats. The Democrats want you to believe everything is wrong and everything is bad. And this guy says something in the reference of, let's go to Washington. Not every single thing is wrong. Not every single thing is bad, but let's fix what needs repaired. They cut this guy off. He kept begging for a second. He couldn't get in. When it came to Medicare for all, he is the one that actually said, and this is about the time they cut his mic off, and they did every time he tried to get in. Chuck Todd said, shut the hell up, John. John, it's not your turn. John, we'll get to you in a minute. Because this guy actually said that hospitals in a survey overwhelmingly said if all they got paid was Medicare reimbursement values, they would go bankrupt. They would all go bankrupt. This guy said last night, and I tell you, and they were cringing on TV. This guy said last night, Medicare for all would bankrupt the hospitals in this country. And they shut him off. They killed that mic, and every time he tried to get in. Hey, I want to say something. I'm the only one up here that created jobs. I'm the only one up here that owned a business. My dad was a union electrician. I got something to say. Cut him off, period. Donald Trump spoke at the Faith of, not one word on the media last night, nothing this morning. Trump speaks at Faith and Freedom Coalition. Why do you think they never highlight speeches like this with Donald Trump when he speaks at the Faith and Freedom Coalition? Why do they never highlight that? I'll tell you why I think right after these messages. What did you expect last night? You expected the Democrats to really come out and say something that or the moderators ask some questions? Take us a break, Josh.